So the other day I was browsing my library of PS4 games and I saw Dead Rising and I was like, wow, I haven't played this in a good 2 years and I haven't made a video in 3 months. So let's just talk about this. Dead Rising is one of my favorite franchises in gaming. It's so unique and weird and I love every second of it. If you don't know about Dead Rising, it is Dead Rising 1 was made by Capcom over in the wonderful land of Japan. Capcom Studios was like, "Hey, those Americans over there, they seem kind of interesting. So let's make a zombie game." Okay, so in 2006, right when the Xbox 360 launched, they released this little game called Dead Rising, and it since then has become a cult classic. For me, at least, I don't know if anyone else. I don't know if anyone else likes this game. So let's talk about it for a little bit. This review thing I'm doing took me a very long time. I had to play it twice actually. I had to buy this game twice. I had it on Xbox. It was free on Xbox Gold, whatever. And I recorded the whole game, all of it. I realized that the audio was screwed up. So I moved to PlayStation and then I re-recorded it, the whole game. So that's why this video is taking a little bit longer to make. If you like this video and like this kind of video, press the sub button down below. I'm actually going to start making videos again. I haven't made a video in 3 months, so shout out me. But with newer movies coming out and newer games coming out, I would like to talk about them. So press the sub button and the like button if you like this. And let's just get into the review. Dead Rising is a zombie game. Duh, I didn't have to explain that. But it takes place in Willamette, Colorado, where photojournalist Frank West is trying to deceive what is going on. Deceive? I don't know if that's the right word. He's trying to find out what's going on, so he's sent into the mall and investigates. And the first thing you notice about Dead Rising is that all of the shops and all of the stores in the mall are open, and they're all different. For the most part, you have a couple of, like, sports stores and kids stores, but it resembles a mall perfectly. And for, like, Japan didn't really have malls, and I don't really know if they have malls now, but back then they didn't really have malls. So the developers actually went to America to, like, look at malls, and it perfectly resembles a mall in my opinion. Objectively, not in my opinion, objectively resembles a mall. Every shop and every store is different, and each store has different, like, clothing. If it's a clothing store, obviously, and you can use everything in the shop you can use everything in the mall. Whether you want to change Frank's outfit or you want to pick up this bat and use it. Let's say you're like struggling in like a group of zombies and all you have is pies, and you could just throw the pies at the zombies. It won't really do much, but it's kind of cool in that fact, and it's the most unique thing I've ever seen. Not really many games do this, but the Dead Rising series does this well, and I absolutely love it. But we have to talk about the technical problems before we talk about anything in this game. You see this? You see me like dodge rolling constantly? I'm not doing that. When I played it on Xbox, it didn't do this. And then when we moved to the PS4 remastered version, obviously I'm not playing this on 360 because I'm not hunting down. I looked on Amazon, it was selling it for like $400, so I was like, screw Amazon. So I just bought it on the PS4 shop. But I'm not dodge rolling constantly. To perform the dodge roll, you have to like double tap up on the left stick, and it does it constantly. And I don't know if that's the controller. I don't think so, because my controller's a little broken, because obviously gamer rage. But I changed controllers halfway through, and it kept doing it, so I don't think it was the controller. I don't know. It happened to me. Crashes happen so often. My game crashed about 4 or 5 times during the PS4 version. It only crashed like once or twice on Xbox, but I heard that the PC port also crashes a lot, where like the best option you have is to save every single time you can. People didn't really like the saving You have to manually save. There's no like quick saving or whatever. So to save, you have to either find a restroom or bathroom or whatever, or there's like certain like benches you can lay on, like in the safe house like this. You can save there. Or later in the game, there's this rug you lay on. Frank just lays on the floor and you save there. People didn't like that. And another thing people really didn't like is that it's timed. Everything you do is timed. Whenever Frank is let out in the beginning of the game, he says 72 hours and the guy will come back with the helicopter. So you have 72 hours either to complete the story, or if you just want to ignore the story, which you can, and just like kill zombies and have fun, you could do that too, and that's pretty cool. But the game will end 72 hours if you beat the story or not. Obviously, to get the best ending, you have to complete the story, but there is different endings. There's the ending where, you complete the story and everyone dies, or you don't complete it and everyone dies. There's differences in the game, obviously, but they're not like completely different. A lot of the achievements are really like, if you want to 100% the game, it is a difficult thing to do, in my opinion, because of one thing, and I will touch on that later. One achievement is just awful. A couple of them are awful, but the worst thing about the game is the survivor AI. So eventually, when I talk about the story, you meet this guy named Otis. Otis gives you like a walkie-talkie thing, and he'll call you about survivors. First off, Otis is a son of a bitch, and he'll call you constantly. And one thing that happens is that zombies will grab you a lot, so you have to like shake them off. And if you're on a call with Otis, Otis will repeat his dialogue, no matter like if he's on the last sentence, if he's like ending the dialogue, he'll repeat it, and it's constant because you can't hang up, because he'll call you back and he'll keep calling until you answer. So after Otis calls you and gives you like a side mission, that's what they are. There's a lot of fetch quests. That's what most of the side missions are. Is Otis will call you about a survivor, you bring them back, and you get a lot of prestige points, PP, what they call it. Nice. They'll give you a lot of that, and the more survivors you have, the more you get. But the survivor AI is so like frustrating that they were programmed by people that couldn't program themselves out of a paper bag. Oh my god, it is so frustrating. There's different types of survivors. There's like the regular survivors that are like, hey, there's zombies outside. You wanna come with me? And they'll be like, sure, yeah. And then there's other people that are like, there's zombies outside. You wanna come with me? And then they'll have a 25-minute dialogue with you, and they're like, I'm scared. And then they'll start crawling on the floor. Like the first guy, Aaron. Bert and Aaron, I've saved so many times because they are so frustrating, and they're right at the beginning of the game. They are so frustrating to deal with because Bert will just run with you. Bert will run with Frank, and Aaron is so scared unless you get a magazine, which different things, quick rundown magazines like help boost stats or whatever. Unless you have like the leadership magazine, which helps survivors out, Aaron will crawl on the floor sometimes, and it's so frustrating because when you get them to, if you get them to the safe house, they can only jump up the platform one at a time, and they'll try to like collide into each other because the AI needs them to be at the exact same point to jump up. So they'll both run into each other, and it's so frustrating because it's timed. So like I'm fine. I literally didn't have like, there wasn't a moment that was like I'm gonna lose because, my fault, I didn't make it in time. It was because the stupid survivors want to get the fuck off the platform. So that's the first type of survivor, the Aaron. We'll call them Aarons. There's a lot of Aarons in the game. And then they'll have like a couple survivors that you need to carry them or like hold their hand or whatever. And these are the easiest type of survivors because, I am competent, and again with the survivors, they will, like, you'll tell them to go somewhere and they'll take the exact straight path, so they won't care about anything in front of you, which is all right, because, like, if they could just go straight, that'd be fine. But they just run into the pile of zombies, they get stun locked, and then they die, and there's nothing you can do about it. I mean, there is something you can do about it. It's probably just a skill issue, but oh my god, is it so frustrating. It's so frustrating. The game is broke. The survivor AI is dumb. It's so awful. But I love it. I love every second of it. I love that I could give survivors orange juice and they'll just heal up instantly. I love that if I get 3 random magazines, that my chainsaw will be like 800 uses until it breaks. I absolutely love the madness of what this game provides. I love the time limit. I love the pictures. I haven't even talked about the pictures. The pictures are great. You can take pictures, obviously, because he's a photojournalist. That's what he does. He takes pictures. The game is great. It's fantastic, but frustrating sometimes. So now that rant is over, let's get into the story, because the story isn't amazing, but it is a story that I kind of like. So let's just hop into it. So the story begins with Frank West and this guy named Ed. I'll call him Big Ed, because that's just the best name I can think of. They're flying into Willamette, and they notice that the military is like blocked off the roads. And Frank is like, hey, I'm a photojournalist. I take pictures. Let me take pictures. So we take pictures, and we start the game off with the pictures. And I really like how this game opens, because Frank doesn't realize that there's zombies. Obviously, we knew there's zombies. And my favorite part about, like, zombie stories is that you always know something bad has to happen for them to be the zombies. So there's always that calm, like, beginning, and then the shit just hits the fan. So obviously they think it's a riot for some reason. So they get to the mall, and Frank is exploring, and he meets these guys, and they built this barricade up. They built this giant barricade in front of the entrance to the mall, and they're like, zombies are dumb. This old ass lady comes out, and she's like, I can't find my dog, shoves the two guys out of the way, unleashes the zombies to get the dog. We don't know if the dog survives. I don't know. It doesn't show the dog survive. In my headcanon, we'll say that dog is alive. So, and then this guy up there, he's like, what are you all doing? Come on. And so we follow him. We make it to the security room where we meet our 3 helper people. We meet Brad, Jesse, and Otis. Otis I've talked about. Brad and Jesse are some mysterious motherfuckers. We don't know what they're talking about or what they're doing, what's going on. So Brad is like, hey, let's go through the vent, because the vent, the zombies can't get in the vent, so let's just go out the vent so we can go back to the mall. Frank is like, you're a genius, so they both go out. Brad obviously going out to find, like, some guy. We don't know who this guy is, but Frank took a picture of him earlier. Shit, I'm bad at explaining things. So after that, Frank goes out into the little area, and Jesse follows in high heels, might I add, and sneaks up on Frank with a gun in a zombie apocalypse. What are you doing, Jesse? Jesse falls over. Frank says the line.
Kinda. I've covered wars, you know.
Everyone knows the line. And Jesse sends Frank to save Brad, because Brad is in a fight with Carlito, the bad guy, who we don't know is bad yet, but obviously he's a bad guy, because, look at him. Carlito runs away because we kill Carlito, but we don't really kill Carlito. I just hit him with a mannequin a couple times. Yes, don't question that the mannequin torso is the best weapon in the game so far. Just don't. So, Brad and Frank now go to meet the doctor guy that Frank took a picture of, and Brad is like, yeah, we're Homeland Security, don't cover this. And then Frank is like, well, I'll lead you to the guy that you're looking for if you let me cover it. And then Brad is like, fuck it, whatever. So Brad and Frank now go to where the guy is, and Brad gives the most piss poor effort I've ever heard anyone try to convince, someone to follow. Barnaby refuses. That's that guy's name. If I haven't mentioned it, I don't think I have. Dr. Barnaby says no, and they return to the safe house. At this point, I was like, why didn't Frank tell Brad that his helicopter is coming back when they were there? Because now they have to wait. And this is a thing that people don't really like, that if you just want to do the story and you don't want to do all the side quests, you're just sitting in this room now. But I tried to save as many people as I could until I stopped caring, like, most of the way. So after you wait, Brad goes to get supplies, and then we fight Carlito again. For the second time. In the first 2 missions, we fight him twice and beat him. Carlito and Brad trade shots, so Brad gets shot. We carry Brad and Barnaby. I would honestly like to see that cutscene where Frank is carrying Brad and Dr. Barnaby through the vent, but we do not, unfortunately. So now Brad needs medicine from the medicine store, obviously where you get medicine from. So there's like this grocery store. Frank goes to the grocery store. There's this crazy guy. And this is where we meet Steven, who is a crazy guy. And he wants to kill because his customers are zombies. Yeah, I glossed over this in the little rant I did. There's psychopaths who are really cool. They each have their own backstory. Whether you like them or not, I think that it's a pretty cool idea. They each have their own music. If there's one thing you love about the Dead Rising series, is that the music is great. Each psychopath has their own set of music, so it's pretty good. We kill Steven, and he's like, oh, jump scare. And then the girl that he has in his cart, her name is Isabella. She says something about Santa Cabeza. We don't know what that is. Frank's like, whatever, lady. She runs off. We get the medicine. We go back. Jesse tries to talk to Barnaby, and Frank is like, let me take pictures, and it scares him off, and they go in the little room beside there. Whatever. So a little bit of time passes. We wait around a little bit, and Jesse notices that Isabella is on a motorcycle in the North Plaza. For some reason, she's there. So Frank goes to talk to her. Boss fight ensues. The worst fight I've ever had is active because the motorcycle doesn't work for Isabella how it does for Frank. If Frank hits anything on the motorcycle, he flies off of it. But if Isabella knocks into anything, she's like, it's a fight. It's a fight that happens. We kill Isabella. Frank questions Isabella. She's like, I'll let you talk to Carlito. Carlito's my brother. Blah, 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 whatever. More time passes. Jesse talks to Barnaby again and tells about Santa Cabeza, who is like a fictional village somewhere, and the Americans were testing zombies in Santa Cabeza, and they want to, like, make cows? They want to turn, like, cows, or they wanted to eat meat or something. Something stupid happens, and so so we wait a little bit more. Isabella gets shot by Carlito. That's not good, so we take Isabella back to the security room. Again, it doesn't show how Frank gets Isabella into the security room. We get close to the vent, and it just teleports us there. So shout out to Isabella for getting there. Isabella finally tells everyone what is going on, saying that the zombies were started by Carlito, and Carlito wants to kill zombies because of what Americans did in Santa Cabeza with the stupid cows. And now Carlito has time bombs in the maintenance tunnels, and that Frank needs to go stop him because they will explode them all and kill them all. So Brad and Frank go search for Carlito in the maintenance tunnels. Brad corners Carlito in a meat locker thing. Carlito kicks Brad out, and he says, "Go play with those guys." And Brad's like, "Who am I playing with?" And he turns around, and all of the zombies are there, all of them. So obviously Brad dies, but whenever Frank returns to like see Brad, the zombies are just gone. They're all gone. So I guess Brad killed them all and then died. So shout out to my guy Brad. He didn't have to do this, but he did anyway. He died for all of us. Shout out to Brad, the real homeboy. So after Brad dies, he tells Jesse, obviously, and Isabella takes Frank to Carlito's hideout. They're trying to get into Carlito's computer. For some reason, Isabella decides that it's better to have the laptop on the floor other than like the cooler right beside her. I don't know why. So shout out to Isabella for this nice ass shot. So shout out to Capcom. Jesse then calls us back to the security room to see that Carlito is being dragged by I'm not gonna touch that. So Carlito now dies, and he tells the password, and gives us the locket, and we get more backstory about Carlito. But I don't really care about Carlito. He's not really a cool character, whatever. So shout out to Carlito for making all the zombies and making this game series. So Isabella opens the laptop and gets the password, and now we're waiting, and we find out that Carlito has put time bomb kids into like orphanages, and they're like gonna explode to make more zombies. That would be important later, but right now it's not important. I mean, it is kind of important, but whatever. So the military arrives. Jesse turns into a zombie somehow. We don't know how that took place or why that happened. Everyone escaped, and then the game ends. Yep. Isabella is like, leave me, Frank. So Frank goes up to the helipad where he was dropped off, and Big Ed crashes the helicopter because he didn't check to see if there's a zombie in the back, because for some reason the zombie was like a super smart zombie and didn't like kill him until he was about to go get Frank. So Frank is left there, and the game ends. That's how it ends. I'm just kidding, there's more. That's the ending A, but if you continue into overtime mode, that's how you get ending S, the best ending. The canon ending is, so Frank gets bit, obviously, as the gameplay shows that I've been getting bit for like the last like 10 hours. So I don't know why I'm infected now. I guess Frank had plot armor before. So Isabella is like, go get me all this random shit, bring it back. Like, there's like a blender, and like what? And she needs 10 queens, which I haven't mentioned the queens yet because I'm bad at explaining. But the queens are like the little bees. They're bees, obviously. They're queen bees, and they like infect zombies, or like they kill zombies. It's a thing. So Isabella makes like a concoction that like suppresses the zombie virus, which will later be known as Zombrex in the later games. So they escape through like sheer dumb luck, I have to say, because like a helicopter or something like breaks open the clock tower in the middle of the plaza, the outside, and Isabella is like, hey, let me carry this glow stick around because there's something in the glow stick that the zombies don't like. So they just go right through all the zombies. There's like thousands of zombies in this clock house, clock tower. And so they make it to like a tank thing. I don't know what these military vehicles are called. It's definitely not a tank. It's like a Hummer with like a gun attached to it. And then they shoot the tank, and then I cheese the final boss until he dies, and Frank screams, and the text on the screen says that Frank and Isabella made it out, and Frank got the story, but the government was like, no, that didn't happen, and everyone believed them. So that's the story of Dead Rising. A little dumb, but who cares, I'm bad at explaining it too. It's actually a really good game. It might not sound like it from how I talk about it, but I really really love it. It's one of my favorites. So if you want to play it, go buy it. Go buy all of them, except for 4 sucks. Don't buy Dead Rising 4. If you want to buy Dead Rising 1, 2, 3, not well maybe buy 3. If you want to buy 3, it's not necessary, but at least buy 1. At least buy Dead Rising. Maybe 2. But in the later weeks we will be talking about those games, but I really don't want to play any more of Dead Rising right now. So, I hope everyone enjoyed this video and my unhinged rambling for 30 minutes. So, shout out to you guys and goodbye.